Imagine, this is the West Bank. Imagine that the old city is the center of the face of a clock. This settlement is due east of Jerusalem, Ma'ale Adumim, with its 36,000 residents, one of the largest settlements in the West Bank. Ma'ale Adumim is at 3 o'clock. Common wisdom is that Ma'ale Adumim will be part of Israel in a permanent status agreement in the framework of a land swap that Dan Rotem spoke to you about. The question then arises, how will Ma'ale Adumim be linked to Israel proper if it becomes part of sovereign Israel in that agreement? For the last close to 20 years, the customary Israeli answer is E-1. E-1 is 12 square kilometers, 12 times the size of the old city, okay? 12 and a half square kilometers. In the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock quadrant, if you look on your maps, between East Jerusalem and the West, and Ma'ale Adumim. So this is E1. E1 seals East Jerusalem and creates a continuous built-up Israeli area in the West Bank between Ma'ale Adumim and Jerusalem. Now, at my age, I think in cardiological metaphors. E1 is not just another settlement. E1 is the fatal heart attack of the two-state solution. I have spent the better part of 21 years fighting settlements in East Jerusalem. Having said that, some of my best friends are settlers, and I'm not motivated by a pathological hatred of settlers. But E1, if constructed, will make the two-state solution virtually impossible, and I want to explain why. Number one, E1 would seal East Jerusalem from its environs in the West Bank. The assumption being, and I believe it is a correct assumption, that in the absence of a geographical connection between the West Bank and East Jerusalem, there will be no political connection. The second thing has to do with topography. Jerusalem is 800 meters above sea level. 20 miles away on the shores of the Dead Sea, you're 422 meters below sea level. That's a very quick, very steep decline. What E1 would do would drive a wedge from East Jerusalem almost down to the Jordan River Valley with a very steep decline. It would dismember any potential future Palestinian state. No contiguity except perhaps by means of an umbilical cord, a sealed road like the Autobahn to Berlin that would allow Israel to claim, here you want a contiguous Palestinian state at 16 yards wide, by the way the road exists. As a result of that, E1 has been perceived as being a strategic meta-settlement that will make the two-state solution impossible. As a result of that, consecutive administrations in Washington have engaged consecutive prime ministers in Israel who have invariably been told, don't, and who have invariably responded, okay, we won't. That simple. Ariel Sharon began to build E1 in 2004 illegally. Now, those of you who are international law purists might counter all settlements are illegal. Don't want to get into that argument. It was illegal from an Israeli perspective. There were no town plans, there were no building permits. It was Sharon, classic Sharon. Take to the hills. And when attention was drawn to this by certain people, and the administration engaged, Bush told Ariel Sharon, don't. And Ariel Sharon stopped.